Finn Russell, should he start? How big an afternoon in a Lions context? Tin's actually questioned off the back of the Ireland game. He said, everyone says Finn's a shoo-in and we're all aboard the Finn Russell bandwagon. But if you do get pumped by Ireland, and to be honest, the game was over after 20 before he went off. It was 17-0 down, I think.
Yeah, we were coming back.
Oh, you were coming back. Okay.
I was drunk.
Just didn't quite
I don't remember
materialise.
any of it.
But then, if it doesn't go his way this weekend, then I think you start to pick on form rather than what you've got in the bank necessarily. You start to move form players up. How big a weekend is this for Finn Russell, given what he's done against England, given what might well happen this summer?
I think it is a big game for him. But equally, you put him behind a pack that's just going forward. For the pack that should start, look at the second rows, they're decimated at the moment, Scotland. The second rows are big old parts in the game. And there's Scott Cummins out, Max Williamson out. Richie Gray's obviously pissed off to fill his pocket with Japanese yen, rightly so.
Perfect. Good luck to him.
It's good luck to him. But so you look at it, if you put Finn behind a pack that's going forward and dominating, then which he will do at the Lions.
Yeah.
You put him behind that Irish pack. So, I don't know, he needs to play well, obviously, because I know Farrell was there, wasn't he, at the game, at the Ireland-Scotland game. He would have looked at that and gone, oh, hold on a minute. And it's funny how you went from round one, looking at all the Scots in the team, then round two, it was just Ireland and England.
Yeah.
That's
the game, then. That's the game. Why change the habit?
Absolutely no rationality at all.
Exactly. So, he needs a big game. And Scotland need him to turn up.
Okay.
Scotland needed to turn up. What they do in the centres, I don't know whether they'll go with Stafford McDowell, but Tom Jordan's been outstanding. And I think if we start with him and get through the first 50, 60 minutes with the same team and hang in there, might be able to go well. But it is a big game for him. But I think you could say the same for Sione Tuipulotu. Would you have him in the Lions tour, even though he's not going to be involved in the Six Nations?
Well, as you will both know, you become a much better player once you've stopped playing, don't you? Or when you're not necessarily in the firing line.
Certainly have. I can't believe how much you talked me up to that.
You're welcome, yeah. I've actually done myself a disservice. I've talked myself down so many times that no one actually knows that I was all right. It's amazing. Alex told me off doing it.
You were brilliant.
Two or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, for stop doing it. And honestly, I've made a caricature of my career. Now I'm just a fuckhead who talks shit. And
you'd rather be that than the bloke that talks himself
up.
Of
course, but it's just one of those things that I now allow, everyone just goes, yeah, but you were a bit shit when you couldn't catch. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? So anyway, yeah.
Tuipulotu, would you have him in the Lions tour?
I would, yeah.
I'd definitely have him in the squad.
I would, yeah, 100%.
So that's, so when people say, does Finn need a good game to be in the Lions?
I wasn't saying I think he will tour regardless. It's just as to whether you enter that Lions tour as a 10 who has picked up big wins in the Six Nations. The Six Nations is the barometer,
I get it.
Or whether you've got more to prove on tour. So Johnny Sexton in 2017 went off the back of not great form, didn't start the first test. It was Farrell, Teo and John Fox-Davis, and then Sexton came in. So
you could argue the case for Prendergast and be like, he's played himself in through, because he's playing against pretty much the Lions pack. So it's hard, isn't it? It's a difficult one to call.
I think again, it's the same way as Premiership stepping up to international rugby. The same thing with Lions. Yes, some of it's played on form, but also some of it's played on experience and past knowledge and ability to deal with touring. And there's so much more facets to it than just current form. Unless you were, injured and very much struggling, I think, all of that would be taken into account. So he's 100% touring, and I'd still say he would be someone to have that experience, because there's no way you can start Prendergast in a fucking first test in a Lions series. The guy's been playing international rugby for a Strawberry season. It'd just be mental. It would just be mental, because I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to do it, but this is the Lions against Australia. You need a bit of weathering. You can't find your feet in your Lions debut suddenly again. It's just in a key position. It doesn't make sense logically, and just no coach will ever do it. That's why it's always interesting when you watch all these pundits and people go, "These are all the people started. These people on the plane." You're like, "He ain't going to play him. He ain't going to play him. He ain't going to play him. He ain't going to." He's not going to risk his reputation on a 10 that's just started basically playing international rugby. Finn Russell would say, unless there's an injury or something catastrophic happens, would start, because he's been there, done that, got the experience, understands how to tour, has the ability, playing behind what should be a very strong Lions pack, will make a difference.
So on that basis, would you consider Ford or Farrell? Or if you're not playing in the Six Nations, and I'm talking Owen Farrell rather than... Owen, I think, has struggled with fitness and Racing, and I know Racing have obviously got their own problems. But George Ford's got 100 tests.
I mean, look, The honest
Or
answer is...
do you think you have to be playing 10 in the Six Nations to be a
Well,
Lion?
I don't. I think more of it counts towards that. I think, unfortunately, Owen can't because for two reasons. He is not playing at the moment, or has just come back and they obviously lost at home. Hasn't been playing as well as he would have liked. There's been a lot of turmoil over there. Does that make him a bad player? No. Does that mean he wouldn't be great in a Lions setting? Would he be a massive emotional driving factor? Yeah. I mean, he was a massive emotional driver in 2013 when he was only about 5, whatever was his first Lions tour. Do you remember? Paul O'Connell, very famous on the Living with Lions, talks about, he goes, you've got a fucking kid here bollocking you. He's making more noise than talking. That's what Owen does. He drives standards. He'd be an asset in any squad. Same thing with Fordy. You'd want those guys, and you need people to look around and be able to help and drive and also be good squad men. Both of them have proved they're good squad men. There are other people that you would take on tour that if they weren't involved would be a fucking nightmare, would be disruptive, would be kicking stones and talking in corners, which is not what you want when you're away from your family in Australia on a Lions tour, massive scrutiny. So I think there's an argument for those guys, but actually when you look at it, you've got Prendergast, you've got Fin Smith. You've obviously got Finn Russell. You could throw one of them in there that potentially wouldn't necessarily be a starter, but would steer the midweek team, would have that professionalism, would have that experience. I just think, unfortunately, for Owen, it's not right. And also his dad's coaching.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's almost unfortunate. It's his old man.
Yeah.
He's not playing enough, and then his old man's picking the team.
That's exactly what you can't have that.
It's almost like old Lancaster picking his son for Racing.
Yeah. You just can't. I think, well. Which is good if you're playing well and going well. Otherwise, it's just you're already at a deficit because you can't make excuses. So I think if he'd been playing, if Owen been playing really well, Racing been going well, then it's to be a no-brainer to have him involved. Basically, to add with Marcus Smith and even Prendergast or one of them some stability midweek, professionalism, being there, done that, knowledge, support, arm round him,
kicks the points,
but you can't have that. You can't have that when you're not playing when your dad's coaching, because it just causes more drama and will actually, because of the way the world works in media, it will just cause more of furore and take away from what should be a good thing, which is sad,